Hello everyone, Cindy here with Monarch Mom DIY. Thank you so much for joining me today on my channel where I love to bring you the best tips and tools for creating beautiful home decor on a budget. Today I am here with 6 more high-end spring farmhouse home decor DIYs for you. So let's get started. For today's first DIY, we're going to make this two-sided A-frame sign using some of these sunflower wall stickers from Dollar Tree, as well as one of these A-frame scoreboards from Target's Dollar Spot. So one side is a chalkboard, the other side has this printing on it to keep score, like if you're playing games. So I'm just going to take some painter's tape and tape off the frame so that I can just paint over the scoreboard and the lines and make both sides be just completely black. So I'm just going around, like I said, with the painter's tape, and then I'm just going to apply one good coat of our Waverly chalk paint in the color ink. And then we'll let that dry completely. I didn't worry if any little bits of the lines were showing through because I was going to cover over this with the wall stickers. So I was pretty sure they wouldn't show through once those were on. I love these sunflower wall stickers from Dollar Tree. They're so bright and cute. I have used them once before in a project. If you can't find these exact ones, they usually have different ones that have flowers on them. So just use what you can find at your Dollar Tree, and you want to be sure to peel them off carefully so you don't rip them and take out any of the little white spaces. Next, I just took this double sunflower sticker that was on one side of the sheet and centered that as best I could on the one side. Press it down, and then I will use my Fiskars fingertip knife to trim away any little bits right up there into the corners. So on this side, I'm just going to have the pictures of the flowers, and on the other side, I'm going to use the single sunflower, but I'm also going to leave a little bit of blank space that I can add some words. So you can see I'm trying to figure out how much of this sunflower sticker I'm actually going to use. I will trim it a little shorter, and then actually once I put it down, I am going to take a little bit more off of the bottom where the stem is. Now you're going to see me use a stencil from Magnolia Design Company to do my wording. This is my latest way of adding words. It's just super easy and looks really nice. If you don't have the stencils, that's okay. You can use sticker letters to add wording. You can use paint markers to add words if you'd like to your projects. Here I'm using this Hello Honey, but I'm only going to do hello at the top, and then I'm going to do the honey at the bottom. That's why I took some of the sunflower stem away. Just applying some of our chalk paste into the mesh stencil, lifting it up, and you can see how nice and crisp the wording comes out. Then coming down to the bottom, I'm going to lay down the adhesive stencil again, just for the word honey, and we'll do the same procedure, pressing the stencil down so it's sealed, and then using the chalk paste, and then peel and reveal the word. Then my last step for this project is to add the little bumblebees that are also part of the wall sticker. I'm going to put a few on this side and I think one on the other side. I will also say that once my project was complete and my chalk paste was dry, I did take this out to the garage and give each side a coat of a matte clear spray, just so that the stencil words wouldn't come off and also so the sticker would not peel. If you are stopping by my channel for the first time today, welcome. I am so glad you're here. I really hope you'll consider sticking around by hitting that subscribe button, and everyone should hit the bell to make sure your notifications are set to all so that YouTube will let you know each time I upload new content. If you are a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for being here and for your continued support of my channel. DIY number 2 is going to be a cute saying cutting board for the kitchen using just a cutting board I found at a thrift store, another one of my stencils, and a wooden rolling pin. I got mine on Amazon. You can get them also at Hobby Lobby. So this cutting board had a perfect little edging for the size of this stencil. And I'm just going to, I did sand it when I got it from the thrift store. And now I'm just going to give the whole thing one coat of our Waverly chalk paint in the color ink again that we used in our first project. Once that was dry, you can see I did distress it just a little bit with some sander. And then I did give it a coat of a matte clear spray. Again, I am using a Magnolia Design Company stencil to put some wording on this project. Again, that is optional, but if you are interested, the link to my website is in the description box. I just love how crisp of wording and designs these give you on your projects, and they are reusable, so you can clean them off and use them many times. I'm going to use mostly white chalk paste for everything on the stencil, except I am going to use red on all of the hearts. Now for the red, because they are so small on the stencil, I am using one of my paintbrush squeegees, also from Magnolia. These are just really great for adding color in small areas that you don't want to accidentally mix the other chalk paste colors with. I just love that image. Now that that is drying, I'm going to take our rolling pin and give this a good coat of Waverly chalk paint in white. And then once that's done, I decided to add some of this red and black buffalo check ribbon from Dollar Tree. I'm just going to wrap it around the center of the rolling pin just to bring in the colors from the cutting board before we attach it to the top of our project. And now that the cutting board is dry and I did give it a coat of a clear matte spray, I'm going to use my heavy duty hot glue gun, put some at the top there, and just attach that rolling pin. I thought that would be a cute little decoration for the top of this cutting board. And then you could either line it on a shelf or something, lean it against the wall, or you could hang it as well. Most of today's projects, you will see me use stencils from Magnolia Design Company. I want you to know that you can still use these ideas even if you put wording on your projects another way, or if you do want to purchase some of the stencils that I featured today, the link is in the description box below the video title. DIY number 3 is going to be a cute round sign that I'm adding some little glass containers to, so you could change it out with florals. This round came, I think, last year from Target's Bullseye's Playground. It is 4 individual pieces and it's MDF, but this front is kind of wood. So I'm going to darken it up with my antique wax. First, you can see I spritzed some water on the surface. This just helps the wax glide on a little easier without using as much. And then once that's sat for a little, you know, like a minute or so, I'm going to wipe off the excess, and that just darkens up the wood stain for this project. I will also go around the MDF edges with the same antique wax, just so that our project looks nice and uniform. Once our wood round is dry, I'm going to take this stencil set. It's actually made for our book stack, how you can make faux book stacks with our Magnolia stencils. The 4 stencils in the set are Love Grows Here and Lives. So you could say love grows here, love lives here. You can use just the individual words. I'm going to use Love Grows Here, and I'm lining up the bottom of my stencil right on the space between 2 pieces. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm just lining those up, and then I'm going to put my words on my project with my white chalk paste. I decided I needed something to attach my little glass tubes to, and I happen to have these little wood picket fence pieces in my stash from another craft store. If you don't have these, you could easily make one with regular size craft sticks that you can also get at Dollar Tree. I did paint both, but I ended up only using one. And then I have this pack of 4 mini glass containers with lids from Dollar Tree. I'm going to use 3 of them, and I'm going to just glue them to this fence, one right in the middle and then one on either end. Now, just before you start to worry, I'm not just relying on the glue to keep them on here forever. You'll see what I'm going to do here with some jute twine, not only to make sure our glass vials don't fall off, but to also add a little more farmhouse look and texture to the project. So taking this really thin jute twine from Dollar Tree, you can see I'm going to weave in and out around each of the tubes. So I went in front on the left, behind the middle, in front on the right, and now I just keep going back and forth. And I'm going to do this 4 times total. Like I said, this is going to make sure our glass vials don't fall off because they are glass. And I just thought it looked cute to have that twine around each of the containers. So once I had gone 4 times, I'm going to trim that twine and I'm going to hot glue it on the back there. I am going to do the same thing around the bottom portion of the vials. It was a little more tricky because I had to just go in and out of those holes in the fence, but I did that 4 times around as well so that it matched the top. So here's my fence with my twine. Now I can take my heavy duty hot glue and just running a line of it on each piece of the fence. I'm going to attach this now to our wood round. And now the last step is just to add your florals or greenery to your little glass vials here. I will say too that you could always use these for fresh flower cuttings if you'd like. If I was going to do that, I probably, rather than hot gluing the fence to the wood round, I would probably use some heavy duty like adhesive Velcro tabs so that I could remove the fence from the wood round sign to be able to easily empty and refill the water if I was using them for real flowers. But for now, I love this. Again, this is one of those projects that you could change it out seasonally with whatever florals or greenery you put inside. DIY number 4 is going to be a super simple project using 2 sets of these foam dice and some wood letters, all from Dollar Tree. So I had a bunch of these foam dice, and every once in a while I like to do another project with them. This is an oldie but a goodie. I'm using 4 of these dice, and I'm going to take a bamboo skewer and poke it into the bottom of each one. This is a genius hack, not my own, but an easier, much easier way to paint your dice. I've done it before where I paint like the top half and then let it sit and then flip it over. This is so much faster. You can do the entire cube in one coat, and then you just set the skewer in a jar or a vase. There you can see it, and let them dry. So I did that to all 4 of my cubes. I did use 2 coats of the white chalk paint to cover over the orange and the white dots. Then you can see I have the letters here to spell love and also to spell home. If my O's look a little funny, it's because I actually used Q's and cut off the little stick parts. But if you have O's, go ahead and use the O's, but know that you can take a Q and turn it into an O. Now, using my mineral chalk paint and kind of a chippy brush, I believe I got this brush actually at Dollar Tree, I'm just adding some detailing by using the mineral chalk paint on all of the edges of each cube, and then also some streaks in the middle just to give them a worn kind of farmhouse look. And I will do this with all 4 of my cubes. Also, if you make this project and you don't want it so neutral, please, you can paint your cubes whatever colors you would like. I just went for my decor and probably to sell this in my craft show with the white, gray, and black. So then what you're gonna do is put your 4 cubes together like this, and I did glue them together in this formation. And then on one side, you'll put your letters to spell home, and then we'll flip them over and put your letters to spell love. Now you can see my 2 cubes on the top are a little bit smaller than the ones on the bottom, so do be on the lookout for that. Not all of these foam cubes are the exact same size and shape. Using my Cool Shot hot glue gun again, just gluing those letters on. And then now that my cubes are glued together, I'm going to take this thin burlap ribbon from Michaels, and I'm going to kind of tie all 4 of the cubes together just by taking this all the way around. And then we will also go around with the smaller black and white checked gingham ribbon. Next, using that same ribbon, I'm going to loop it around and make a double loop simple ribbon. You can see my top loop is a little bit smaller than the bottom one. And then we're just going to take a thin piece of jute twine and tie it together in the center, and that will give us our bow shape. Then once we've fluffed up our bow, I'm going to glue that to the top of our cubes and then make another small bow, simple bow with the black and white gingham ribbon, and we'll glue that on top of the burlap bow just to finish off our project. If you are on Facebook, please head over to my Monarch Mom DIY Facebook page, as I will be also adding new content there. DIY number 5 is another super simple one. I'm just using a page from a Dollar Tree calendar and this sign from Target in the Bullseye's Playground. It's a wood shiplap sign that was $3, and I'm going to first take my ink chalk paint and just go around all of the edges of the frame. So the top edge, the inside edge, and then I will also do the outside edge. It's okay if I get some on the actual background of the sign because we're going to be Mod Podging the calendar page over the top of that. Now that the paint is dry, we'll just take our matte finish Mod Podge and do a light layer over the entire backing of our sign, and then we will Mod Podge our calendar page on. I will spritz a little bit of water with my water mister on the back of the calendar page. This just helps it reduce the air bubbles, and you can slide your piece of paper or whatever you're Mod Podging. If you need to slide it, you have a little bit more time to do that. Now this is very simple. If you don't have this exact image, you can take this idea and use it for any size sign and for any image that you might have from a calendar. Now this did have a sawtooth hanger on the back, but I wanted to add a little bit more something to this. So I'm taking some jute twine and I'm going to just string some of my white and gray wood beads to make a little hanger for my sign. Once you have your 2 knots on the ends of your string, you can just put down some hot glue and glue down those knots. I also will go back and put a little bit more hot glue over the top of the knot just to make sure it is nice and secure, and then just trim off the excess of the twine. If you enjoyed this video, I sure hope you'll give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much. And our last DIY for this video is going to be a Be Kind burlap braided wreath using a wreath form, some nautical rope, some of this yellow burlap from Walmart, and another one of my stencils. So the first thing I'm doing is taking this yellow burlap ribbon from Walmart, and I am going to glue the one end and then wrap it around my wreath form. I am kind of going for a bee theme here, so I was really glad that I had this yellow burlap ribbon. I used this a week or 2 ago to make a burlap pulled string flower, and it's just really good quality. It's in a few different colors, available at Walmart in their floral aisle. So just go ahead, wrap that around. You can see I overlap about halfway and pull it a little tight to try to get it as tightly around the wreath form as I can. Then when you've wrapped it all the way around, just go ahead and trim the excess off, and then you'll hot glue again to get it all the way secured. Now for this braided part, I want to give a shout out to my friend Heidi Scott. She did this on her Facebook page, and I thought it looked so nice. So you are going to need 5 packages of the nautical rope. We're actually going to use, we're going to fold each package in half. So that will give you 10 lengths, but we're only going to use 9 of them. So you will use 4.5 packages of the rope. So now I have 9 half lengths of the nautical rope, and I'm lining them all up there, and I'm going to attach them together with a zip tie. I'm going to pull it as tight as I can. I get my zip ties at Dollar Tree in the like automotive electrical stuff aisle. Go ahead and get those on there and then trim them. And then I am going to tape this down to my workspace, but you can see I'm going to pull them apart in groups of 3, and we're essentially going to make one huge braid here. So we're using 3 lengths for each section just to make our braid nice and thick. So you'll overlap them, you'll pull them a little tighter than you see me doing here, because otherwise then when you curve your braid, parts of it will stick out. So go ahead and pull it pretty tight, but still trying to keep the 3 strings visible like that. So then I also zip tied the other end once I was done with that. Now, I also wanted to use Heidi's stuffy idea. So I'm taking a double thickness of canvas cloth that I just got mine at Walmart, and I'm just going to use this bee from this big stencil that I have, use some of my black ink from Magnolia, and I'm going to stencil 3 of these bees onto this canvas. I'm going to add these to my wreath for a little more dimension, and I just thought they were super cute. So once I let my stenciled images dry, you can see I have 2 thicknesses of the canvas that I'm cutting through, because basically I'm just going to make mini little pillows out of these. We're going to stuff them with some batting, but I'm just cutting around each of the stenciled images, and then we will use our Cool Shot glue gun to start gluing the 2 pieces together and stuffing it with the batting. So here we're going to use our Cool Shot glue gun, and I'm just going to run a bead of the glue around the top here of our bee, press the 2 pieces of fabric together, and then we'll come a little bit down on the right hand side. Now I did let it sit just for a couple minutes after I glued it to make sure it was nice and secure before I started pulling it apart to stuff it. But just using a little bit of this batting, this is also found in the Walmart craft section. You get a huge bag and you really only need a tiny little bit. So as I filled each section of the stuffy, I went a little further around with the glue until I had it stuffed as much as I wanted, and then glued it the rest of the way shut. And I'm going to do this for all 3 of my stenciled bees. Once the glue had completely dried, I did take my sharp scissors and just trim a little tiny bit around the edge of each of my stuffies to get some of the frayed edges away, and just make sure that they stay sealed all the way shut. Now we're taking our braided nautical rope and we're going to glue it to the top of our burlap wreath. So I'm just doing a section at a time, and you can see I kind of have it curved around tight enough that it will reach all the way around our wreath. And then we are going to make one other thing to cover up where the zip ties are. I decided to make a little wood plaque or sign to cover up where the zip ties are. So I'm taking one of the wood squares from Dollar Tree and giving the entire thing a coat of my black chalk paint. And then I'm using this stencil that says "Be Kind." This is in the same set that the Hello Honey that we used in our first project came from. Centering it on that black square, I'm going to use white chalk paste for the words and a little bit of yellow for the cute little bee. And my favorite part of using these stencils is the peel and reveal. I'm just always amazed at how great the stenciled image comes out. Once that was dry and I did spray it with a matte clear spray, I'm going to hot glue that at an angle there right over where the 2 ends of our braided rope are, and just make sure that is completely attached down there. Now you could just leave your wreath like this. I think that's really cute, but I made these adorable stuffy bees, so I'm going to add these 2 of them next to the sign, and then the 3rd one on the other side of our wreath, and then our project will be complete. Thanks again so much for joining me today. Please let me know in the comments which of these projects was your favorite, and we'll see you next time. Take care.